lawyers are not just merely confined to the legal space anymore. That should really have been pushed a lot more.
I remember when I started teaching as a professor at the Law Faculty, University of Malaya, there was a course called Ethics and Etiquette. And that was a very interesting course because it's very important how you conduct yourself in a manner that accords with social justice and so on and so forth.
So like one of the things that I'm currently involved in is that I'm actually an alumni mentor in my alma mater. And what kickstarted this off was that one of my batchmates actually approached me and said that the university is looking for ways that, like alumni can actually give back. And I really felt that at that point in time, the thing that would have helped me so much through this journey was just a senior to give me some good advice. So that's one of the way I contribute back. And I'm very honestly pleased because among my first batch of mentees, one of my mentees has now since went on to be an alumni mentor herself. So I think that is one good thing I would say that I'm really proud of my university, this culture of giving back, so that this kind of knowledge experience that you gain is not lost.
I think broadly speaking, not much has changed because the format in which the subjects are taught is very much the same. Of course, research is made because nowadays you can have access to the internet and you can work from home and have access to a vast corpus of material. But then the direction, the thrust is still the same, which is you learn the subject in a context. You see, law is developed through the societal needs, through economic impetus and behavioral aspects and so on and so forth. So you have to locate the teaching of law, every subject, virtually, in that particular context. There must be imbued within society this proportionality that you have to function within the wider context and apply some part of your skill to returning to society what society has given you.
I think legal education now is very sophisticated. I chaired the program advisory committee of the Singapore University of Social Sciences. It was quite plugged in terms of the curriculum as well as the various facets of university life for our law students in the third law school. Currently, I serve on the National University of Singapore Law Advisory Council as well. My own sense, though, is that over and above that, there needs to be a practice aspect that should be woven in.
Theoretically, we are supposed to get that practical skill in the chambering that we do. I think there's quite an inadequate focus on those who want to practice law. And of course, I also went through the Inns of Court, which is supposed to provide you with a very practical course. But again, it is done in a very sanitized, isolated kind of atmosphere, very detached from the actual practice itself. That's one gap that needs to be fulfilled.
One of the very interesting things about my alma mater at that point in time, was that how it tried to distinguish itself was to say that our law students do all the core law subjects. And on top of that, we want them to do financial accounting. We want them to do economic theory. We want them to do philosophy. This was, decades ago already, honestly. I'm not that young, unfortunately. But I think that really showed as an inkling of what we see a lot nowadays, in that lawyers are not just merely confined to the legal space anymore. That should really have been pushed a lot more. Not just, the subjects that we did, but even in terms of the internships, the exposure that we got. I felt that a lot of it was still probably more, focused on private practice, and understandably so, because that was the norm in a way. One thing that a lot of law students can benefit nowadays is to really just explore how they can use their legal skills in other settings.
What is the law about? The law is about order, The law is about ensuring fairness. The law is about ensuring that we are able to create an environment and a context in which we not just survive, but we thrive and flourish. So to me, the laws, the spirit of the law goes towards supporting that and creating that environment. And that's what we tend to lose sight when we get into the nitty-gritty of the law. And that's not being talked about. Why are we studying law? To what is our purpose? These are not questions that are posed or even asked of us when we are studying law.
What advice I have for young lawyers and also for aspiring lawyers, my response is one word: resilience. Because of the challenges that we're seeing with our younger lawyer demographic, in terms of a number of them experiencing untoward, extraordinary pressures, or just coming to grips with legal practice after law school, there's a lot called for in terms of legal practice. The staying power, or the resilience, or the perseverance. If you're faced with your first defeat in court, or you're faced with a client that's unhappy with you, you can't just wilt and throw your hands up in the air. You've got to be able to take that in your stride, no matter how good your grades have been, and overcome that hump and just move on. So now, these are things that may have to be caught, not taught.
You talk about whether there's a need to upscale the skills and update the skills of senior lawyers as opposed to younger lawyers. I think that there is a very strong need for that. And now the challenge is even more, because you have now a situation where you have all kinds of tools that are grounded in technology, the internet, where you have to begin to acquire skills to access what technology has to offer to you. And if your mind is a little ossified because you're doing things in a particular way for years and years, and that's the fate of many senior lawyers, then there is a need for them to be upscaled, and the need is even more urgent than for younger lawyers.
What is important for the student, particularly the student of tomorrow, is being able to unlock their creativity and innovative ability. With tech, with the kinds of challenges in the future, artificial intelligence, it's no longer a case of just man or machine. It's really about man and machine. But it's really, how do you work intelligently and try and bring about creative solutioning.